Welcome back to Yang Daily. I'll be your host, Alex Cheney, bringing you all the Yang news you need to live your life right. Got some exciting and good news today on multiple fronts. First off, thank you so much to our new patrons, Maggie, Adam, Suganda, and Nathan, and special thanks to Ira as our first Tier 2 patron. Once we get more results from the poll, I'll get to work putting out some new perks for you guys. We've got a long way to go to our goal, and you all are blazing the trail for others to follow. Thank you for leading. Now on to the news. Humanity for Yang is trending hashtag Cash for Kim right now to help his fundraising. David Kim is also ramping up volunteer opportunities. He's calling on students, young people, and activists to join his new Fall Fellows, field organizers, and digital organizers. Links below. Good news, for the first time since 1972, the Democratic Party has endorsed nuclear energy in their platform. It says that they favor a technology-neutral approach that includes all zero-carbon technologies, including hydroelectric, geothermal, existing and advanced nuclear, and carbon capture and storage. And I'm so glad that they said, and advanced nuclear, because that means they might be open to thorium, a much more efficient, cheap, clean, and safe fuel and reactor type that Yang supports in his own platform. If some of you are still wondering why we should support nuclear when we now have efficient solar and wind, in my opinion, it's mostly because we simply don't have the production capacity for solar, wind, and the accompanying energy storage that we would need in order to meet the transition rate we will need to significantly blunt the climate change threat. While solar is the future, and we should absolutely invest heavily in ramping up production in solar and battery, such as Tesla, we will need some supplementary nuclear in order to meet our goals for the time being. And that is exactly what the DNC and Biden's platform are proposing, which is fantastic. Not only is this important for climate change, but solar and storage is the tech of the future, and America needs to become a leader in that emerging market. It also means a lot of new meaningful jobs in the US as well. If you want to learn more about thorium, Ian Prado made a fantastic thread on it in the links below. And more good news, St. Paul could become the latest American city to provide low-income residents with a guaranteed monthly income, in coordination with Mayors for AGI. Mayor Carter announced during his budget address Thursday that he intends to use federal CARES Act money to fund a UBI pilot that would give up to 150 families $500 a month for 18 months. It's the latest in a series of mayoral initiatives offering a boost to the city's poorest residents, including opening $50 college savings accounts for babies born in the city and providing emergency cash assistance to families and businesses that lost income as a result of COVID. In an interview, Carter said he's been interested in the idea of a guaranteed income for years, but the pandemic added fresh urgency. He'll need approval from the City Council to launch the pilot, which he said will be paid for first with CARES Act dollars and then with philanthropic and, if needed, public money. Council members say they support the idea but need more information about what the program will look like and what will happen when the 18 months are up. Give Directly has put together an article on UBI that presents evidence to address the objections to it. It had a few great quotes that I hadn't heard before. From Mark Zuckerberg, quote, "We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas." End quote. From Richard Nixon, quote, "Current welfare robs recipients of dignity. Benefit levels are grossly unequal. With UBI, for the first time, the government would recognize that it has no less an obligation to the working poor than to the non-working poor." End quote. From Milton Friedman, quote, "Now, what it seems to me that you ought to do is to give people money instead of a whole lot of separate little baffles and get rid of the bureaucracy that is involved in all these programs. If we want to say we'll give you money only if you use it to buy toothpaste and not for anything else, that's our right as taxpayers, but I think we are very unwise to exercise it." End quote. Save those quotes, they are golden. Article is in the links. Scott Santens made a video to rebut some slander against UBI put out by Steve Forbes. The video contains a lot of great arguments for UBI, including that people who have passive income don't stop working, the evidence that UBI, if anything, increases incentive to work, that it solves the biggest problems in the economy, that wages are being suppressed, and that wage slavery is super messed up. Bookmark it, share it, like it on YouTube. Matt had Heidi and Tully on his show to talk about their new project, Math Movement, which we discussed just yesterday. Follow the link below to listen and learn more about how they intend to train the organizing and volunteer army we need to make humanity first a controlling force in politics. YangGanger Wagner has started a new YouTube channel for YangGang Finance called Freedom Finance. He was inspired by Andrew Yang to promote financial literacy, so check out the first episode if you could use some help making the most of your money. Yang made yet another visit to the H3 podcast, where they had a long discussion on all sorts of stuff: pandemic response, the Biden endorsement, working as a CNN correspondent, potential cabinet position, 4-day work week, etc. I listened to it. It was a great discussion. Notably, Andrew said that he supports a 4-day work week, by which I'm pretty sure he means a 32-hour work week, as the norm for the economy, but would not mandate it for all industries. I think that's the right way to go, personally. Incentivize businesses to do it because it's mutually beneficial for them and workers, but don't force it. I think that avoids a lot of potential resistance to the idea and gets people focused on the benefits. Tomorrow, August 25th, No Dem Left Behind is hosting Andrew Yang in leading a virtual town hall for 10 congressional candidates. You can sign up for that below. Incredibly, the hashtag Morse Force is on the verge of making 800,000 calls. That's about 3,000 phone bank shifts or 6,000 hours of volunteer time. Between this and his recent fundraising blowout, Morse is absolutely killing it. He was also discussed on yesterday's Yang Speaks episode, which you should absolutely listen to. Yang hosted multiple mayors for AGI in a group discussion. You can add your voice to the Morse Force at the link below. Finally, heads up if you need cash assistance. Mission Asset Fund's Emergency Coronavirus Rapid Response is helping people in dire circumstances get access to direct cash grants and emergency bridge loans. They can help you get connected directly to all resources you are eligible for without needing to search for them yourself, get $500 cash grants for those who are not eligible for stimulus checks, and get zero interest loans with no payment for the first 6 months. Link in the podcast description. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Help trend cash for Kim and or join his volunteering initiative. Bookmark and share the Thorium thread, UBI quotes, and Scott's rebuttal video. Check out Math Movement and YangGang Finance. Help recruit other organizations to the cause and get everyone to sign the UBI petition. Flood Congress and Trump with calls, tweets, and letters using the Resist Bot or Income Movement easy contacts below. If you need help, consult Humanity Forward, the Income Movement Aid Database, the Mission Asset Fund, United Way, or the H3 podcast thread. And don't forget to Yang Daily.